Hey, what if you could build a whole program just by describing it in plain English? Well, today, we're going to bridge the gap between one of Python's most fundamental skills, handling files, and the absolutely incredible power of generating code with AI. You're going to see how understanding the basics is the key to unlocking the future.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with why Python needs a permanent memory in the first place. Then we'll nail down the rules of file input and output. After that, the fun really starts. We'll unleash our AI coding partner to build a game in seconds. And then I'm going to hand the keys over to you with a couple of fun challenges.
All right, first things first. Why do we even need to bother with files? I mean, really, it all comes down to one simple idea. Programs need a memory that sticks around.
Think about it. Every single time you run a Python script, it's using temporary memory. All your variables, all the data, it's just floating in space. But the moment that program closes, poof, it's all gone, vanished. So the huge question is, how do you make that information permanent?
Well, the answer is simple: files. And you can think of it like a two-way street. On one side, we use files to get data into our program. You know, like when a user uploads a photo or a document. On the other side, we use them to save data from our program. Things like quiz results, high scores from a game, or maybe a report it just generated for you.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. When you want to work with a file in Python, you can't just barge in. You have to be polite. You first have to declare your intent. Are you there to write something new, add to what's there, or just read it?
These are called file modes. The most common ones are W for write, which is basically like starting with a fresh, blank page. It'll either create a new file or completely wipe out an old one. Then you've got A for append. This is more like adding a PS to a letter. It just adds new info to the very end without messing with what's already there. And that little plus sign, that's a superpower. It adds reading ability to the other modes.
Now, to really understand this, you have to picture an invisible cursor. Yep, just like the blinking line in your text editor. It marks your spot in the file, and when you write to a file, that cursor moves all the way to the end of whatever you just wrote. This leads to a super common trap. If you immediately try to read that file, the cursor is sitting at the very end, and Python just goes, looks like there's nothing here to read.
The solution is a handy little function called seek function. Calling seek of 0 is like hitting Command Home on your keyboard. It zips that invisible cursor right back to the very beginning to position 0. Now you're all set to read the file from the top, just like you wanted.
Now, managing this whole open and close process safely is absolutely critical. The old way, you had to manually open a file, and, this is the important part, you had to remember to close it. If you forgot, you could end up with corrupted data. Yikes. But the modern and much safer way is the with open statement. It creates a nice, tidy block of code. And as soon as your code is done and leaves that block, Python automatically closes the file for you. No fuss, no muss. That little as-f part, that's just giving the file a convenient nickname to use inside the block.
Okay, you with me? We've got the fundamentals down. Now, let's take a giant leap into the future. What if you didn't have to write all that code by hand? Let's talk about changing your job from being a coder to being a director, with AI as your star programmer.
This quote from the course instructor really says it all. I don't actually code myself, I get the code generated. The whole paradigm is shifting right under our feet. We're moving from being the typists to being the architects. Let me show you what I mean. It all starts with a prompt. A simple sentence in plain English. No weird syntax, no jargon, just a clear instruction. Here, we're just asking the AI to create a standard CSV file, the kind you'd open in a spreadsheet, with 3 specific columns. And boom, this is what the AI gives us back. It is perfect working Python code, and hey, look closely, it's using that super safe with open method we just learned about. The AI knows best practices. It imports the right library, it opens the file, it writes the headers, and it even throws in some sample data for us.
So we run that code, and this is what we get. A perfectly formatted data file, exactly what we asked for. The whole process from a simple idea in my head to a finished file took maybe 10 seconds. Incredible.
Okay, that was impressive, I'll admit, but creating a data file isn't exactly thrilling. Let's really have some fun with this. How about something more interactive, something more complex? Let's see if the AI can build us a complete playable dice game from scratch.
Once again, the prompt is almost laughably simple. Create a simple dice game. 6 sides. Make it fun for 2 players. That's it. That's all we're giving it. Let's see what happens.
All right, the AI built the game, so let's play it. In turn 1, Sareem and Hamza are on the board. Hamza sneaks into an early lead, 4-3.
But here comes turn 2. Sareem rolls a big 6, and suddenly things are getting interesting. We are all tied up at 9 points apiece.
We're going to jump ahead to the final nail-biting turn. Sareem is in the lead, 48-45. Hamza is trailing. He needs a huge roll to win, and he gets a 6. That brings his total to 51. And with that clutch roll, Hamza is the winner with a final score of 51. Now just stop and think about that for a second. We just played a complete multi-turn game with rules and scoring and a winner, and all of it was generated from a 2-sentence prompt. That is the power we are talking about.
Okay, so you've seen what's possible. You've seen the magic. Now, it's your turn to be the architect. I've got 2 Python challenges for you to try, and they use the core logic that we've been talking about today.
First up is the number doubler. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get a number from a user, then use a while loop to keep doubling it and printing the result, over and over as long as it stays under 100.
And for challenge number 2, something with a little more drama, the spaceship countdown. For this, you're going to use a for loop with a reverse range to count down from 10. For some extra dramatic effect, add a 1-second pause between each number. And then, when it's all done, finish it off with a big lift off.
So we end on this final thought. AI is an incredibly powerful tool. It can write flawless, beautiful code in the blink of an eye, but it can't come up with the idea for the game. It can't define the rules or figure out the steps for the countdown. That part, that's your job. You are the architect. You're the one who provides the logic. The only question left is, what are you going to build?